Good morning. Good morning. It's 4:20 a.m. I just pulled out of my house. I'm on my way to the gym right now. I was talking to my wife yesterday. There's this book that I'm reading, and it was a suggestion through our brokerage on ways to develop our skills and our abilities inside of our business. I wasn't prepared for it to start talking about how to develop a relationship with a teenage child. And I think I was on my way to pick something up at a store the day before yesterday. I'm gonna say around Tuesday. And as I was pulling in, this guy starts talking about how you're not making any deposits or how you're overdrawn in regards to dealing with your teenage kids, who they make reference to having a second life crisis, meaning a teenager is typically in a midlife crisis or in a first or second age of their crisis. I mean, they're trying to identify, they're trying to figure out things, they're trying to get a clue about what direction they need to go in, given their peers and influence and all these other really cool things that come along with their puberty and all whatever. But he starts breaking down how you can start making certain deposits into that relationship in order to gain your child's trust. And I thought this was really interesting, given the situation and what I've really been kind of feeling lately with our teenage child. And like I said, at 16, I was already on my way to prison. I didn't have a normal upbringing. And in no way, sense, or form of the word was my upbringing normal. It's not normal to not be able to go to your own refrigerator. It's not normal to be locked inside of a room where you can only come out when they open up the door with the key. And it's not normal to do that for over 10 years. It's not normal to do that the majority of your youth, which is something that I went through. So trying to identify with Malachi is a stretch. But this guy starts talking about how, and he damn near identifies me to the T. He starts saying, all you really do is tell your kids, did you take out the trash? You didn't do your homework. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Did you do this? Did you do that? And you become so hard on them that they can't even feel like they can communicate with you. And I said, oh shit. Oh shit, he's talking about me. There's a way to make deposits into anything. You can make deposits into your business. And when you make a deposit, then there's something to withdraw. There's something that you can take from it. When you deposit into your marriage, there's something you can put into it. There's something you can take from it. When you deposit into your child, then there's something to take from it. But when you're constantly taking from it and not giving to it, I didn't know up until that point that that's what I had been doing. I had been making more deposits into my business than I had into my son. And I can make up all the excuses in the world. Well, I was 16, I don't understand. I tried to rip that bullshit off to him. I said, listen, man, here's my upbringing. This is where I came from, man. Just go and deal with it. He looked at me like I was crazy. Like, no, I'm not going to deal with it. No, that's not right. I understand you went through that, but what about right now? Why are you taking me through it? And at that point, I had to start realizing if I'm going to ever break any of these chains, then I got to stop relying on my past experiences and start creating some new ones. So I get Ricky in the car and we're driving, and I say, I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to it, and I want you to tell me if you're taking the same thing from this that I'm taking. I said, doesn't it sound like I've been doing a lot of withdrawing and no depositing? Not showing any interest in anything that he does. Thinking that because he likes sneakers so much that it's stupid. Or because it's not in line with what I have envisioned for him, that it's not important. You got to make a deposit if you want to do a withdrawal. You got to start treating every aspect of your life the same way you do a bank. You don't put nothing in, you don't get nothing out. Does that make sense? We came up with this motto, and it says, you much rather develop a lifestyle before you develop a business. You much rather work in your business than work on your business. And for the while, I've heard that, and for the longest, it really took me a while to kind of capture what that meant. But once you start putting other dynamics of the situation together, it's kind of like a meal, right? At first, it looks a little iffy. But then you put a little more ingredients with it. You put another side with it. You put this with it. You put that with it. You lay out a nice spread on the table. You put out the formal eating ware. You put out the formal dining ware. You put out the wine glasses. You start putting together a full picture. But the only way you do that is by gathering information from different sources and different areas and pulling it all together and sitting down and having a talk with yourself and saying, listen, I ain't making no deposits. That's why there's nothing to withdraw. I'm constantly feeding myself, and I wonder why I'm not losing weight. I'm constantly on my wife's ass, and I wonder why she doesn't have time, or she doesn't feel energetic enough to show compassion or love towards me. My business is failing, and I keep wondering why, because I'm not making any deposits into this, but yet I want to pull everything out of it that I possibly can. Never realizing that it's me. Never realizing that it's me. And if you ever want that to change for you, then you're going to have to do a couple really important things. And one of those important things that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to start saying that sometimes I got to recognize that what I'm doing is more detrimental to my longevity than helping me now. Some of these talks, some of these conversations seem foreign at times. But then when you really sit down, you're really trying to figure it out, and you're really trying to put it together, and you're really trying to say, you know, I really don't want to live a shitty life, and I really shouldn't have to live a shitty life. I shouldn't have to be overweight. I shouldn't have a business that sucks. I shouldn't have to have a marriage that sucks. I shouldn't have to have a rocky relationship with my kids. I shouldn't have to do all this or accept this. But at some point in time, you got to start saying, I'm accepting it because I don't want to do anything about it. At some point in time, you have to say, I'm making more withdrawals than I am deposits into this account of life. And it's all back on me. If I don't show up to the gym in the morning, no deposit. If I don't sit down at my computer and do my work and start sending messages out every single day, talking to my clients, running into my past, my center of influence, if I don't keep doing this, no deposit, no withdrawals. If I don't sit down with my wife and say, hey, listen, sweetie, we got to do Friday, me and you, no deposits, no withdrawals. If I don't start showing some interest in my son, no deposits, no withdrawals. I can't expect him to learn something if I'm not going to learn something. I can't expect him to come forward when me being as old as I am, knowing better as much as I know, and I don't want to make any deposits, and I don't want to move forward. I can't expect him to do something that I'm not willing to do. I got to set the example. For everything and everybody around me, I set the example. Not because I'm looking to show you something, but doing it because I know inside of me, there's people looking at me. There's people that are counting on me. Not only that, but I also know that if I set an example for somebody else, that means I'm doing the right thing for myself. And that means I'm making a deposit on my life. And there's nothing more important than making deposits on your own life. And that comes with doing the work. That comes with constant, being consistent, being persistent, being tenacious, and being driven, and being goal-oriented, and being focused. If you can't put those things together, it's going to be one rough, bumpy, fucked up life. I promise you this. Make some deposits starting today. They don't even have to, here's the thing. They don't even have to be huge. I see people who do these some of these diets kill me because they're on it for like a week and then their body is so starved that they eat everything in sight. Everything in sight. I see people coming to the gym every day. I'll see a different person and they will lift the whole gym up and they'll do it for 3 or 4 days straight. They will lift the whole gym up. They can't sustain. You can't sustain. You have to build up to those levels. Because if you try to circumvent it and shortcut it and say, well, if I just do this and I do a lot of it, I'll get to my goal faster. Maybe. But there's a better chance that you'll burn out before you get to that because you think that there's more of a benefit to doing it all at one time versus making continuous, consecutive, consistent deposits every day. Every single day. The tortoise and the hare. You ever notice, and I'll give you this example, you ever notice when you're driving, there's this fast driver, this one that weaves in and out of traffic, trying to get somewhere? Have you ever noticed? Just pay attention. You might be that person. I'm not that person. Because if I zoom and zag, I got a clear goal and destination, and I know that if the light turns, I can turn left or I can turn right. If the light turns red, I can make a right-hand turn, still get faster and ahead of you. I'm not going to just be zigging and zagging for no reason, looking crazy. But you ever notice the person that's zigging and zagging through traffic trying to get somewhere, they always end up stopped at the same red light that you stopped at. They were doing all the zigging and zagging, running as fast as possible they could, and you were just driving normal and you ended up at the same stoplight. This fool did that yesterday. Damn near ran me off the road, sitting right in front of me at the same stoplight. I had to have been laughing my ass off. And not only that, he had to get in the lane to turn, so I ended up bypassing him. So he's probably looking at me saying, this is the same guy I thought I left back there, damn near killed back there, trying to get I don't know where. And look at him, he just drove past me. Sometimes taking the slow and steady pace will beat out the fast and I want it now pace. Stay blessed, take care, and keep that in mind. Make them deposits.